Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Geek Blend and another episode of the Orville Quantum Dive, where myself and Lost Jedi 22, Greg, go over Season 1, Episode 10, Firestorm for the Orville. This is the one we recently just finished it. What were your initial thoughts after the episode was over?
I thought the episode was okay. I wasn't crazy about it. It was kind of it centered really around just one character. Although the other characters were in it, it was all basically, spoiler alert, it's all in her head. But I liked it because I like the character it was focused on. I will say that if you have not seen the episode and you have a fear of clowns or spiders, you should probably skip this one.
The clown one wasn't as bad as it could have been, but I thought the episode was pretty good. It was sitting around one character, like you said, a character we both really like. Probably, I think it's your favorite character. Is Alara your favorite character?
Just because, I like Isaac. Like, I know Isaac's yours. I just don't think we've seen enough of Isaac yet. So we've definitely seen more of her. So right now, I would say she's my favorite.
I did say Isaac was my favorite character. These two teeter on the top. It's either one or the other, and it's like they're always teetering. Which one's my favorite? But I'm going to say right now it's a tie.
She's likable. She's more likable, I think, than some of the other characters because they don't really use her to drop a whole lot of like one-liner jokes and anything. She seems more of an actual real character and not playing a comedy character in the series.
That's another reason I think I like her character so much. It's organic with her humor, and she is definitely the most likable.
There is one guest star in here that if you're a fan of Voyager, you will enjoy as well. So the actor that plays the EMH program in Voyager plays her father. You basically see him in, Robert Ricardo. He plays her father you just see him in a long distance phone call basically with his daughter. The ship is traveling, and the episode starts off pretty fast. It kind of jumps right into the action. So it's not like a typical cold open that we see for the Orville, where it's just kind of an unrelated joke scene. This one's just boom, right into the action. The ship is in peril. It's going through this like energy field or, electrical type storm. The engineering deck is critically damaged. She has to rush down there to lift a bulkhead to save a fellow crew member. And she basically just doesn't make it there in time. So that was the focus of the story of this episode, was her self-doubt. And turns out that she ends up, again, this is going to be a big spoiler if you haven't seen the episode, she ends up putting herself into a simulation, but having her memories wiped so she doesn't remember the fact that she was put into a simulation. And it's a simulation designed for her to confront a lot of fears, to discover any of her fears so she can kind of get over them so she never hesitates again. So it's kind of like a training program for her, but of the horror variety. So she's, there's a number of events. That's where the clown comes in. That's where the spider characters come in. The bottomless cavern situation, that's where that comes in. Just a number of these scenarios that she has to confront while she's trying to figure out what the hell is going on, because she has no idea that she's in a simulation. So to her, everything is actually happening on the ship. And she's losing other fellow crewmates as she's trying to figure this out. So really kind of interesting.
Yeah, very much so. And then at the end, we also find out that Isaac designed the program based on like fears of the officers and other crew members to kind of, feed those necessary phobias in there that, like basic phobias. But like you said, it's like a training simulation, and she invokes, it's like an override.
She enables a security protocol to basically lock out anybody from overriding her. So they can't end the simulation. She has to run all the way through it on her own. They can't stop it if it gets too hairy. She went into the simulation with their, I wouldn't say blessing, but with their knowledge. They weren't exactly endorsing her trying this method, but they didn't stop her. So they were aware of it. But it got so intense at some point that they wanted to stop the simulation. And like, oh my God, we can't. She invoked this security protocol that can't be overridden, which is interesting.
Yeah, it was. The humor in the episode, there was a few things that landed for me. Most of it didn't. I would say one of the biggest things that landed for me was where Bortus comes in the room and he's like, there was an alligator in the one of the areas. He's like, I crushed it with a chair. They're like, oh my God, where'd it come from? He's like, I don't care. I don't know, but I crushed it with a chair. Like talking about a spider being hit by a newspaper or something like that. I thought that was pretty funny. I think we both laughed at that one.
Yeah, and that's a really good use of his character to drop in comedy. Just this really dead serious, dead straight, but saying something kind of absurd. I didn't laugh a whole lot, except for there were some circumstances that were just kind of so stupid. I laughed. Like, oh, geez. Ha ha ha. Kind of, but not a real, like, oh my God, that was really funny.
Yeah, there was a lot of it. I also did like at the end of her simulation when she's about done, she has to fight what she thinks is Isaac, like being taken over by some alien form. And that was a pretty good little action sequence they filmed there. It was really well done. I was really surprised. I think we both commented on how well it was done as it was going on in the show. The episode, besides some of the humor, it had good pacing. I did like the fact that it basically started out just as in an action sequence, and you kind of knew right there you were in for something different.
Absolutely. And I think this episode really, pacing is a good way to describe it. The pacing kept the intensity. There was never like a dull moment where the action just kind of dropped off or the intensity dropped off a lot. It was all, it kept you very, very engaged. So this episode, not my favorite episode, but it is certainly not boring at all.
Yeah. Same here. Not my favorite, but it was still really good. This one is one that you're like, oh, I want to see more of this. I like the action stuff. I like the setting, that space storm or like that, whatever they were going through. That was pretty cool. It looked really good. And, but yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. This was a very sci-fi kind of episode, sci-fi intense, like episode for me it's one of the reasons I liked it so much.
Yeah. I would say it's sci-fi thriller, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was, and hopefully they do more like this down the road as well. But that will do it for us this week for the Orville Quantum Dive. And thanks again, Greg, for joining me on this. I really enjoyed doing these with you.
Yeah, these are getting more and more fun. Actually, we've had a good string of episodes here where it's been good stuff.
Again, thank you guys for being here. We do appreciate it. If you're new here and you do like the Orville and you like what we say about the Orville, we'd appreciate you guys subscribing and also leaving a like on the video because it does really help out in the YouTube algorithm game. And we will see you guys next week for another episode of the Orville Quantum Dive. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.